Shaun, back with us. How nice is it to be back here?
It feels amazing, to be honest. Just coming into the stadium, seeing the familiar faces like Ada, Lindsay, being back out on the pitch. I don't even want to think how many years it's been since I was last out on this grass. I mean, the pitch looks amazing, absolutely incredible. It feels really nice to be back, really sentimental. Had some fantastic moments here. So yeah, it feels really nice to be back.
You've just come down the tunnel with one of your little boys. Do the memories sort of come flooding back as soon as you step out the tunnel?
Yeah, it's sometimes I do think, Cameron, he's 5, so he wasn't around, for my Orient days, and he's just about getting to that age now where he's into his football. So I feel like this has come at a perfect time, so I can start telling him about who his dad used to be, because it's not something that I'm doing anymore. But yeah, it's a really nice moment for him to be able to come here and see, some of the history, I guess, that I helped be a part of and help create, and a lot of the familiar faces who were here along the way.
And as well, you're obviously a former Peterborough player as well. Just saw you had a nice hug with Darren Ferguson, so it's kind of reunions all round for you tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's. Yeah, I think a draw is going to be a perfect result for me today. I won't be upsetting anyone, but yeah, look, obviously Peterborough was my first professional club, so Darren Ferguson was my first manager in the Football League. So yeah, good memories at Parsha, and obviously good memories here too.
So we've had a load of questions from fans. We've had to cut them down, but we'll run through a few of them if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first one's coming from Chris B, who asks, the second goal at Brentford was one of my favourite Orient goals ever. Do you consider that the highlight of your Orient career?
Oh wow, great question. And yeah, to be honest, it is one of my favourite goals as well. One of my favourite ever moments in my Orient career. Yes, definitely up there. Definitely up there. Not the favourite. I think for me the favourite was, and again I probably need to choose my words carefully, but it was the playoff semi-final second leg here. I think having such a big part in setting up Dags for the winner, and then the scenes at the end of the game, and all the fans coming onto the pitch, and I still remember it to this day. All of us players were up there, and it was probably for me would be the number one moment. But yeah, Brentford would definitely be probably a very close second.
We'll come back to that semi-final second leg in a bit, but if we go fast forward to the playoff final, so obviously the final went to penalties, which didn't go away.
Yes.
You weren't one of the players who took a penalty.
I wasn't.
Do you remember why that was?
I do, and I remember it quite vividly actually. I don't think it's probably something I've ever mentioned before, but I was meant to be the 5th penalty taker, and a member of staff switched me and Dags last minute. So yeah, I was meant to be number 5. I ended up being switched, and had it gone past the 5 penalties, I would have been next up. But I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. I mean, when Dags joined, he was a fantastic asset to us. He scored some great goals, and when we were switched, I probably didn't put up too much of a fight at the time, because I'm sure he'd scored more goals than me at that point. So yeah, nothing, no hard feelings. But yeah, in answer to the question, I was meant to be number 5, and I ended up getting pushed back a place.
So the next question comes from Declan, who asks, who is the most talented player, in your opinion, you played with at Orient?
Great question. Most talented player that I played with. It's a very difficult question. I do feel like that team, we had a lot of good players. A very, very talented squad. If I had to choose someone, I would probably say Moses Odibajo. I think obviously I joined on loan the season before, and I'd seen glimpses from him, but I felt like that season that we almost got promoted, I think he really came into his own. He made that position his own, and I think he'd improved and excelled a lot, and he was right to get his move at the end of that season. He was without a doubt, the shining light in that team, and he deserved to go up the leagues.
Next one's from Robert Reddington, which is a bit of a tongue-in-cheek one. He asks, where are my boots that you borrowed when we worked at Sports Soccer?
God, jeez. And I thought this was going back some years. He's going back. Sports Soccer was my first ever job. I think I must have been 16, and I'm 37 now. So they're probably on eBay somewhere. But great question, Rob.
Dean asks, he says, Shaun, you contributed to a great season when we reached the playoff final. What are you up to these days, and are you still playing at all?
Very good question. No, I'm not still playing. To be honest, it's been probably a good couple of years since I even kicked a ball. Not even five-a-sides or anything anymore. So, no, I'm in IT industry now, in a sales role. So, completely out of football, which I always knew was going to be the route I would take. I had a lot of injuries, which came with a lot of ups and downs. So, when my time came to retire from the game, I knew I would move on to something completely different. So yeah, no longer in football anymore.
So last couple of questions now. Graham asks, did you enjoy sometimes being known as a super sub, or would you have preferred to have started more often?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, you can ask any player, no player ever grows up with the ambition of only ever coming on as a sub. It's never nice to not be in the starting 11, and when I wasn't in the starting 11, and it was, I suppose, the next best thing for me was to make sure that I was the first player called upon if the game wasn't going our way. So and then once I was called upon, to make sure that I did something to change the outcome of that game that would help get me a start in the following game. That was always the goal. So no, always wanted to be in the starting 11. I think, given looking back at my career now, I think a lot of my main serious injury that I had at Millwall probably affected my ability to be able to play 2-3 games a week, 90 minutes, and I think my roles in teams were dependent on that. But yeah, it's one of those things.
And we'll sign it off with what you said was your best memory of here at Orient. So John Madison asks, what was the mood like in the change room after that semi-final win at Peterborough, and did you still have some friends at Peterborough at the time?
Oh yeah, absolutely I did. Obviously the manager at the time was obviously Fergie, so that was a little bit bittersweet. And I remember he said some complimentary things about my performance after the game, so that was nice of him. So yeah, I definitely did. Definitely did still had some friends there, but ultimately my allegiances were with Leyton Orient at the time. That was my club, it was my team. I wanted to be successful in that team and do that for the fan base, for the fans. The atmosphere was incredible. The changing room, I've still got some of the pictures. The O's are going up, and we are going up all around, and I'm sure the music was blaring. We were all dancing and throwing drinks all over each other and jumping up and down each other. It's it was incredible scenes, incredible evening, incredible moment, and one that still lives with me to this day.
Well, Shaun, thanks so much for being with us this evening. I hope you and your family have a lovely time tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.